Hello everyone. We are the 13th group. Today we are going to talking about our apartment management. Why did we choose apartment management? When choosing apartment management, we started to look at other sample cities on the internet. But it made us curious that we couldn't find a city to take us as an example to facilitate the work of inexperienced managers. Not everyone has to have managerial experience. Of course, every job has a beginning, and we want to make the work of administrations using our site as easy as we could.
Another factor we paid attention to while designing our site was to prevent corruption. The site we have created records every information from dues paid by everyone to rent information. Payments are made in digital environment. In this way, there is no such things as overpayment or underpayment. The site's incomes and expenses are known to all residents with all their correctness.
Here we record everything in the settlement site because we are trying to create a nature-friendly system, and we aim to save paper and time.
Before designing a database, the first thing we did was thinking about how to get real data by accessing the right information and how to plan the database. The first step we followed was examining documentation. In this step, it was to examine the databases that were designed for complex management so far, to fully understand the complex management and to determine what the basic requirements could be. Then we used the interview technique. In this technique, we have made one-to-one questions and answers with the people who previously or currently managing this complex. In this way, we got answers to questions such as what are the definitions in a complex management? What is the most difficult for complex administrators? What kind of system we set up for the complex administrators, and we can establish a better system for them, and those who live on the complex, and we designed the database in line with them. The person we interviewed was the father of our group friend Baran. He is former administrator of a complex, and he is still an administrator now.
As Aycan said, my father managed a city of 125 flats. I saw most of the difficulties he was going through and helped out when needed. Taking precautions for those problems before you encounter them will enable you achieve your job. It is my dad. What is the difference between our seat and other seats? Everything is digitally recorded. Since we couldn't find a sample seat, the biggest difference is that we have such a seat. Of course, it's a great advantage to keep records of all kinds of income and expense.
With the effect of the pandemic conditions we are in, the health codes of all people entering and leaving the complex are checked and recorded. In this way, it's much easier to intervene in a risky situation.
Announcements and complaints are online format because online format prevents loss of time in all our complaints and announcements. Entries and exits on the record because we want to eliminate possible crimes and problems that may occur on the site, and also it's necessary for health conditions.
The yellow-colored columns in our table represent the foreign key, and the pink-colored columns represent the primary key. Each complex has a name and a manager. First of all, we gave a name to each complex. The security code attributed in the table is a security code that complex residents use when logging into the complex. Each complex has a complex manager. In our complex management, residents choose the apartment managers themselves. Later, these apartment managers elect the complex manager with a small vote among themselves. Next page. The table we define as a block here is the apartments in our site. Each apartment has a certain numbers of flats, a management and a name. In the resident table, which you will see in a moment, which of the apartment residents are administrators or not has already been stated as is admin. Our aim in our management table here is to keep information the apartment managers to get together and to make them more accessible. And in our flat table, the owner informations and IDs of each flat owned by our apartments are available. Next page. And our resident table contains the information of each person sitting in our apartments. Residents can be hosts or tenants. All information on both sides is available in our system. Is admin indicates who is the administrator. Former tenants' information can also be found in this table, but each tenant has a check-in date and check-out date in our table. If a resident has moved from his apartment, the active attribute is converted to 0 because this person is no longer active in our apartment, and if he or she has moved all sides of our complex, he or she can no longer access the system we have set up. However, if another tenant is still staying in their apartment, the value of its active property is 1. This person is still part of our complex.
Here in these tables, we see announcements and recent messages. Almost every table has a date because it's very important to know the date of each entry for the database. We see which site residents post a message and its content. Then you can see how the relevant manager replied to this message. Management ID. On the announcement table, you can see the contents of the announcements. Whether it's still active and which manager has sent it is management. In this section, we see due tables and flat due tables. We see how much due income comes from which block. For example, the second and third and fourth apartments of block 1 did not pay dues. You can see in this table above. While the other blocks had income for 400 liras, but the block 1 had an income of 100 lira. With income tables, in the first table we find what kind of income the income is, and in other table we get the tax information and value of income.
With expense types, we see that expense types, name of expense types, and is it active or is it being processed now, and which block doing these expenses, and it's of course its create date. And in expenses we see the information about expenses, its amount, because we record expense and incomes in our site. We have an ID, of course, and we have also have create date in here. You can see the jobs and salaries tables. With jobs, we can see the job name and which complex this job is being doing and which date it's created. We can see salaries with them month, year, and amount, and also create date. Employees and employee job salaries tables. We can see the employees, their names, their blocks for he or she is doing which block he or she is responsible, and them job IDs and which date they are started to do this job, and it could be end of this job, and we also have this column for this. Employee job salaries, we can see the is it paid or which date this salary is paying by our management, and also their IDs. With the guest table, we can see the health situation. If there's a problem, we give it 0, as you can see, and we also record that basic information about them. We can see the risky person. It could be a COVID positive or something, and we also recorded date of entry and date of exits. Why we have more than one manager? Because we don't want to eliminate the human factor in management. We want the managers to supervise each other as well, and we can do double check with this. And why we record the health situation? It's vital to record the health situation in our lives during of course, in this pandemic period. We assure that these records will be used confidentially only when there's a necessity.
And here is our homepage. We want to show you how we run and write the items you want from us with SQL code. You asked us to list all announcement for particular block and all residents expected to read it. In the table we have prepared, I showed all the announcement for the B block and those who read it with this SQL format. My conditions was to view announcement of blocks with block name B and resident that can read it. If I want to view the announcements in another block, it will be enough to change the condition. Here we see the announcements of block B because B is selected.
We see a sample of code, sample code of a message created by a person whose number is 2 in the recent table. In the example interface I created, they can send a message by use our interface. The new message be logged into the seat to send a message. He will automatically fill in his information from the database. Here you have asked to us change the rent of the apartment, but we are not legally authorized to do so. What we refer to as a rent, here is the rental income of the shop under the 4th block. I want to show you. Here is a rent for block 4. This is our this isn't our rent for a flat. This is, for example, rent for a market. I don't know. This is just a shopping place. It's not a rent for a flat. The rent of this shop is the income of the city management, and we can change it from the income page. As you can see in the code, we can change every detail in the change section in income. We can change all of detail, message type or title, content, answer. Date is automatically authorized. I want to show same thing here.
In this section, you can add a new employee with its name, last name, job, and which block is responsible. You also recorded which block the employee is responsible for, and you can easily delete or edit from right there. A way for a sender to remove message, we can send a message with its types. We have some types for messages, and you can add a title and content from here. And after you submit it, you can easily edit or delete from the actions bar.
We used this query to group incomes and expense according to their types and show them on the charts. Our charts like this, we will see more detail while explaining the interface. Here is our first ER diagram. As an example, we understood that there is no need to keep both the block ID and complex ID in employee. Employee, where was employee? Yeah. Block ID and complex ID, there is no need because we can understand from the block ID that it's registered on the seat. Another important thing we changed is changed the major ID to resident ID because manager ID is used. We won't use because there is no need. We use resident ID. And we created a new message management ID. For example, REST message type have no any management ID or resident ID, but there was block ID and manager ID. There was, but we deleted that. We changed the change we made in our table to the ER table, and the link between some interconnected table has disappeared. Of course, we tried to get a more beautiful look. Our first ER diagram were so complicated and it's not beautiful look. But finally, ER diagram, I don't know, but it seems really good and it's more comfortable for me. Now, our friends Kürşat going to talk about our interface and our query codes.
I will present you a simple website where we use this database. It will be a simple demo. I start with admin page. When we log in, we will see announcement page. Here we can add new announcement or edit or delete it. I will show edit and delete first. And now I'm adding new one. Like this. Of course, we are not deleting from database, just making it passive. The apartment will have incomes and expenses. Admin can be able to add new income and expenses. We are not deleting incomes, but filtering it by data tables. We can only edit if there's something wrong. There's a balance page. We can filter incomes and expenses by date. For example, we select chart will change like this and incomes and expenses change like this. Dues will be automatically added to incomes when resident paid. Here admin can check who paid dues and who didn't pay it. He can select door number and see who paid or not paid. Only admins can add new user. or manager can add new user, for example. And we can edit by this form again. Here. Here's message part. In this page, we can contact with admins by messaging. Admin will see only own apartment message, and users will see only own questions or request, whatever is it. If admin want to answer it, click this button and answer, submit it. It will change, and we will see on user part, user will see this answer. We can add employee, same logic with adding resident. Now I'm going to user part. Here, all page similar to admin page, but user cannot add or edit or delete data from database. He can see, only he can see. User can make changes on message. He can send new message. He can edit or delete message. I answered this question and we can see it's answered here. That's all. My part is over. Thanks for listening. We are eager to hear your questions.